Crime among young people in our state has risen significantly over the past few years. Young people, basically anybody 17 years old and younger. State data shows the number of criminal complaints against juveniles rose 23% between 2021 and 2022. Now, local leaders are looking for ways to stop that. One idea that keeps coming up in our area, curfews. Fayetteville City Council will discuss the idea at a work session tomorrow. Anyone under the age of 18 would be banned from public places from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. on weekends, midnight to 5 a.m. on weekdays. The city says the rule would, quote, protect juveniles from victimization and exposure to criminal activity, as well as, quote, reinforce and promote the parents in raising and guiding children. Now, Nashville, North Carolina has already been doing this. They approved a curfew on teenagers last month, saying they had a problem there with vandalism. Here's Police Chief J.T. Winstead.
The curfew is supposed to be for our abundance of juveniles that walk up and down the streets and do things. Now we have our hands tied of what we can and cannot do with them.
The logic behind curfews makes a lot of sense. You keep kids off the streets at night, and then they won't be committing crimes or won't become the victim of a crime. But do they actually work, curfews? There's a lot of research that says probably not. Let's go in depth. So the idea of curfews really ramped up back in the 90s. President Clinton was a big fan. He often pushed more cities and towns to impose these rules. And then you fast forward 25 years, and more than 400 American cities have curfews in place. Now, in that time period, researchers dug into whether those rules were actually working. A 2016 analysis pulled together 12 different studies, concluded the pattern of evidence suggests that juvenile curfews are ineffective at reducing crime and victimization. A study that looked at a curfew specifically in Washington, D.C. found instances of gunfire increased after the rule was put in place. Another group found juvenile crime dropped and victimization dropped 12% in Austin, Texas, but that was after the city got rid of its curfew. But why do these rules why don't they appear to work? Researchers have some theories. First, a lot of youth crime, especially violent crime, happen after school and way before curfew would be in place. There's a graph from the DOJ. It shows most violent crime among kids happens between noon and 5 p.m. Then there's another theory. It's a lack of resources. There's a study that found it is rare for curfew ordinances to be associated with an increase in law enforcement resources, reducing the likelihood of effective enforcement. So again, why do this if these studies say curfews don't work? Let's bring back Police Chief Winstead from Nashville.
This curfew would allow us to take them home, make their parents in charge of them, and if the parents didn't choose to do that, then there would be fines and penalties that the town we could put on the parents to have them be responsible parents and not just let their children wander away. We've had an uptick in it since about the first of the year, and it's just getting worse. And with the summertime, they still haven't gone back in the house yet, so I think this is a first step forward.
And without something like this, there's nothing you can do, really, yes, not even hardly stuff. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Nothing they can do. Tell me what you think about this. Email me at dan@WRAL.com. Tell me your thoughts on this story or any other. Tell me what's on your mind, and we will go in depth.